It's time to call this regular school board meeting of the San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Today, Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. But before we do that, could we all stand and have a moment of silence? This week we had terrible news that we lost a student, one of ours, the name Nate Rubio. If we could have a moment of silence, please stand and again have a moment of silence. Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you do us the honor of calling roll?
President Saints. Here. Mr. Messon.
Here.
Mr. Overbelt.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
And myself. Sir, Form.
Thank you very much. Let the record show that we do have a quorum of board members and that this meeting was duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This time we will have opening ceremonies. First, with a moment of silence for personal reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Again, board members for being here tonight and happy New Year, everyone. Have item 5 on the agenda, citizens to be heard. We have Clarissa Stolte. Again, the topic is brief introduction of new military and family life counselor with Lawful Air Force Base, working with older school youth. Clarissa Stolte.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clarissa Stolte. I'm the new Military and Family Life Counselor for Lawful Air Force Base. It's an honor to be here tonight. Part of what I do is short-term solution-focused therapy, and it's mostly with military active dependents, but I also work with families and I work with the schools. So I mostly help the middle school and high school age students. I do brief therapy for them. I do presentations, and I do consultations with teachers. There's a lot of different topics that I can help the kids with, ranging from school adjustment, deployment and separation or reunion adjustment, behavioral concerns, if they have any issues with fear, grief, or loss, any parent or peer relationship issues. There's lots of different things that I can help them work with. I also help the teachers in the classrooms by doing behavioral observations of students. I can help them if they need a consultation on certain students' behaviors and intervention ideas. If I do a presentation, it's not just for, a room of military kids, but any classroom, as long as there's at least one military student in the class, I can do a presentation for the whole class or even a whole campus. So it's an honor to be able to serve this community, and I look forward to being able to work with all these families and kids and help our community as best as I can. Thank you
so
all.
much. Thank you and welcome to the community. Thank you so much. Okay, next item we have on our agenda is item 8, reports. Item 8A, term 3, attendance and discipline reports. Michelle Smith. Dr. Rios?
Y'all like to ask questions or would like for her to go through the report?
Yeah, I think all of us got the report, so we pretty much looked at all the attendance and discipline. At this time, if anyone has a question, sir. Okay. That was pretty quick. Thank you so much. Dr. Rios, it's so difficult to kind of gauge ourselves right now with, COVID going on. And last report that I had last week, we had something like 226 new cases, student COVID cases. And so it's been very difficult for us as board members to kind of gauge attendance and everything else that's going on. We just hope that all our students will come back healthy and once they quarantine, come back to our schools and have a normal school year whenever this virus ends. But it's been very difficult to kind of look at reports and kind of zoom in on things. And we just hope that students will continue coming to class face to face. Learn that, having remote learning for a lot of students, it just doesn't work where parents are there to be able to make sure they turn in the work and do the assignments and get the credits. So again, with that being said, we hope that we don't have 226 new cases this week. That's to be seen. Next report that we have is item 8B, 2021 school district property tax refunds. Amy Childers or Sandra?
I'll make the presentation, Mr. Mesa. Sandra's gonna help me with the PowerPoint. Just be a brief update to the board. Thank you, Sandra. First, I want to discuss with the board the timeline. Obviously, we're talking about over collection of taxes from our community directly from the bill related to the school district. Remind the board that on August 16th of 2021, this board did adopt the M&O rate of 0.9725. But unfortunately, on November 2nd, county tax assessor and collector issued statements with the previous maintenance and operation tax rate of 0.9927, which resulted in overbilling and over collection of just 0.0202 cents. However, that overbilling and over collection did affect right under 12,000 accounts, 11,996 taxpayer accounts to be exact, were overbilled and resulted in $229,000 paid to the district in excess of what should have been paid. Now, in this third slide, you can see the distribution. Most of the accounts were under $500. As a matter of fact, almost all accounts were under $500. However, there are 12 accounts that were between 5 and 1,000, 8 accounts that were between 1,000 and 1,500, 4 accounts that were between $1,500 and $2,000, and then 1 account that was between 2,000 and 2,500. And then 3 accounts exceeded 2,500, and only 1 account exceeded the $5,000 collection. We met with the county tax assessor collector, we met with the judge, and we met with their auditor. And in that meeting, we decided that the best and cleanest way to solve this was to cut a check, and you'll move to the last slide, Sandra, was to cut a check to the county for the amount that we were overpaid. So, assuming the board approves this tonight, the district will provide a check for reimbursement to cover all the over-collected taxes in the amount of $226,809. The over-collection was $229,000, but the county is responsible for that 1% that they charges for the over-collection. So we'll deduct that 1% from the fees. And if the board approves it tonight, we'll issue a press release. The county has already issued their statement, and the checks will begin being sent out to the taxpayers on 1/31/2002. I don't know if there's any questions, Mr. Mesa, or any clarifications that are needed.
Okay, so they'll be issued out after 1/31?
Yes, sir. By 1/31, they'll start mailing checks. The county.
Any board have a question? Yes, Joshua.
Thank you, sir. Just to reiterate, because I know Judge Owens said this in his announcement or his video to the public, the district had absolutely nothing to do with this. It was tax assessor error. It was not us trying to cheat people out of their money. So just want to reiterate that we had nothing to do with it. I think we were the ones who caught it, actually. So just want to be sure that that's said again multiple times, that we had nothing to do with it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that is correct. Anyone else? Thank you, Senator. Thank you. Next report that we have is item 8C, Facilities and Construction Update. Israel Carrera.
Good evening, Board President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. I'd like to present a Facilities and Construction Update Report that would consist of the Del Rio Freshman Campus, the restroom renovations, the life skills renovations, the Sanisa Hills Elementary, and the roofing contract, the non-TPO and the TPO. The Del Rio Freshman restrooms, as you can see, they have worked and started the plumbing, electrical, and tiling at the last restroom in C Wing. We still are expecting to finish and complete on the end of this month. The life skills renovation, as you can see, we've installed the windows on the clear story. We've made it weather tight, and they have started inside renovations or work. They're starting the plumbing, and then they also have started the HVAC. They're installing their air handlers and the main duct lines. On the Sanisa Hill Elementary Campus, they are continuing to erect structural steel. Our plan is this Thursday to lay the sixth part of the foundation, concrete foundation, the sixth and last part of it. Then the non-TPO roofing projects, the one at Early College High School, they had a minor setback. The crew caught COVID and they were out for a couple weeks, but they started back up last week, and so they should be moving on pretty smoothly from here on out. Then the TPO is at Del Rio Middle School. We've had some supply issues with the I can't remember what it's called, the ISO board for the TPO roofing. It's on back order, and so we're waiting for that to get here so that they can continue. They lack about 2,000 square feet to finish Del Rio Middle School there. We've asked the roofers to do all their work after hours so that it minimize the interruption in the classrooms. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Smith.
I got one that's not up here, and I know this is something that the city's managing, not us, but it's going to impact our boys, right? I mean, they're talking about expanding that baseball field for playing seasons coming up. Is that box checked, or is that going to occur before baseball season, or?
Mr. Smith, Coach McCray is the one that's been dealing, working with the city. So Coach, can you come up to the podium real quick? I know that during the discussions, I think that the latest was engaging the engineer, but let's see what Mr. McCray, if he has any further updates.
Good evening, good evening. To answer your question, Mr. Smith, I'm
Raise
working
the
with,
microphone, please, we can't hear.
I have been in constant contact with Mr. Sheedy at the city. What we are doing at this time is using that grant money to help fund the engineering to make sure that it's all plotted out correctly. They did not allocate or did not realize that they would need to restructure the lighting and the scoreboard as far as that. So the plan is now to begin the work behind the current wall as is to make sure that we don't run into the time for the season. And then once that's done, to take that wall off and insert the warning track.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So just to be clear, Mr. McCray, for the current season, they're going to start practicing soon.
Yes, sir.
And the competition season, they'll still have the same wall up. They won't knock it down and do that
The-
until
the-
after the season's over.
No, well, yes and no. The plan is if they can finish this engineering part. I'm not real versed in that part of it, but the plan is to begin behind the wall just in case they are not able to finish the entire project without interrupting the season. If it interrupts the season, then as soon as it's done, they will remove the wall. But the plan is to hit a deadline of the end of March, like was discussed. Now, if something has changed, I have not been made aware.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Carrera, I think the only question I have is with the forecasted weather for these next couple of days, will there be any halt in some of the construction projects, like especially the new middle school?
I didn't hear the question. Did
The-
they what?
The severe weather, well, they're talking about ice, possible sleet, mixture of
Yes,
winter
sir.
mix.
Yes, sir. If the weather's not favorable, they'll have to delay the cement pour yet one more week. But it won't be beyond that.
What about the self-contained freshman project?
They should be okay to work inside.
All the roof has been completed?
Yes, sir. They have some touch-ups on the clear story, but they'll be able to work inside.
Okay. Anyone else? We're good. Thank you. Next report that we have is item 8. Oh. Oh, sorry.
That's right. For the maintenance work order report, we are up 10 on the 30-day, we're up 1 on the 60-day, and up 24 on the 90-day. On the technology department, on the work orders, they're up 14 on the 30-day, 3 on the 60-day, and 7 in the 90-day. In transportation work order department, they're up 3, or they're down 3 on the 30-day, up 3 on the 60-day, and up 1 on the 90-day. That's it.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next item's 8, D, HB 3 presentation, items.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The House Bill 3 presentation tonight is an overview of the topics we've discussed for the last 8 months, and also an opportunity to let you know what assessments are being conducted right now and what presentations you can expect. If you remember, the instructional components of House Bill 3 include 2 areas. One is 3rd grade reading and math, and the other one is to increase the college career military readiness component for all graduates. You'll see there that any indicator listed below would be an indicator for the CCMR. This year, because it is January, it's the middle of the year, we just closed out semester 1, we're starting semester 2. We have not concluded the middle of the year assessments. Therefore, we do not have a complete data report to share with the board. So what we do have is a reminder, a summary of the past 8 months of presentations, and you'll see there. Starting back in May, we did have a presentation from kindergarten, which supports our 3rd grade. That's beginning and middle of the year, or middle of the year and end of the year data. Followed by a summer school presentation on retention, and then the update of enrollment. In July, administration did present the accountability report for STAR and EOC. And in August, we presented the new House Bill 4545, which was a tutorial program for learning loss for all students. October, we had 3 different presentations. In September, we had the House Bill 3 beginning of the year assessment for 3rd graders. And that was just to give us a baseline as to where our students were, along with an update on our CCMR for seniors. In October, we had a bilingual presentation. We had TPRI results for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. That is the Texas Primary Reading Inventory Report. And we also had a presentation on how the district was planning to address the learning loss and the gaps. In November, there was a READ presentation where we explained the different guidelines, all part of House Bill 3. Teachers and principals do have to complete the training by 2023. December, we presented the RDA, followed by 1st and 2nd grade benchmark results in reading and math. In January, our campuses are very busy right now, teachers, students, on middle of the year assessments. You'll see that our pre-kindergartners are completing their LAP 3 assessment. Our kindergartners are doing their middle of the year Tex-Kia assessments. Our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade teachers and students are completing the middle of the year TPRI, again for comparison to the beginning of the year. And we also have a kinder through 12th grade initiative where our students do take a middle of the year accelerated reader Renaissance test. That again is for grade equivalency. We also have district and state benchmarks. The first one you'll see, TA has sent out a letter to our district asking us for certain grades to do a field test for certain subjects. The field test will be online. They do start on February the 14th. That is an RTI day, so we would start on February the 15th. We have 1 week to complete them. Most campuses will have a different assessment. So one campus might have a 3rd grade reading, another one might have a 4th grade math. We also have our district STAR and EOC benchmarks, which we do every year, and that's just so that the teachers and the principals can complete their data reports and so that we can intervene before the actual STAR in any area needed. We'd like to give the board also an opportunity between now and the next meeting, if there's any other report that's not on here that you would like to see, we can definitely include it in our spring reports. Are there any questions?
Board members? We're good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next item we have is item 8E, committed fund balance projects. Sandra Hernandez. Dr. Rios.
Yes, sir. I'll start the presentation that Ms. Childers would have done. Sandra's going to help me. The first that I'll share with the board is that over the last 2 months, we've shared that because of how we budgeted the calendar, we were able to secure for the district above $12 million in non-committed funds. So we have the share that's required to keep in fund balance, and then above that, we had well over $12 million that we were able to reserve so that we can hopefully allocate to specific projects because that is in excess of what TA requires to have in the bank. So what we want to ask y'all today is to commit some of these funds, but we want to make sure that the board understands that a commitment is not authorization to spend the money. It's just a direction that we should put that money aside for these specific projects should the board approve them when the time comes. I've asked Coach McCray, Mr. Carrera, and Mr. Rios to just be here and explain a little bit about the committed projects that have to do with their area. I'll address the first one, Sandra. The first one has to do with the elementary. When we passed the bond to build the elementary, we knew that we had passed a bond that was of enough size to secure the property, develop the property, and construct the building. But specifically, out of that budget, we left out some soft costs that included the technology, the furniture for the classrooms, the furniture for the cafeteria, and the landscaping. Projected that all this would be secured within the next 18 months, and assuming a little bit of increase in price, we want to ask the board to set aside $2.4 million to be able to provide for these soft costs. The next project is the conversion of North Heights Elementary to pre-kindergarten Head Start. When we asked the board to approve the relocation of the Cardwell, we said that we would enclose the breezeways so that everything would be under one roof. Obviously, we have to modify the restrooms. It would be nice to paint the whole building inside and out and allocate new furniture where needed. And we think that we can get there with right under $2 million, $1.9 million. Now for the third project, we haven't bought buses in a number of years. And when we did buy the buses, we were already behind in replacing them. So we want to buy 3 buses, 2 of the regular route buses and 1 for the special education route. Each bus is running right at about $105,000, but depending on when we buy it, we just allowed it a little bit of cushion for any increased expenses between now and then related to the buses. For this next one, I'm going to ask Mr. Rios to come up and talk a little bit about the semi-trailer and tractor that we've been talking about for not only the band program, but maybe robotics could use it as well. Mr. Rios?
Good evening, Dr. Rios, Mr. Mesa, members of the board. This is one project that we really have been looking forward to. As it is right now, we're having to rent U-Haul trucks to be able to move our equipment to all of our competitions. And every place that we go to, really every school, particularly when we went to the state marching contest, it's filled with 18-wheelers from each of these particular schools that were there. not just the schools that make these state finals, but if even around us. For example, Eagle Pass has one for CC Win, one for Eagle Pass High. And so it's something that we would really need, because we'd eliminate the having to use the U-Haul trucks. Inside this trailer, it's going to be decked out to where we could but rather be able to put our uniforms, because right now on the buses, our students have to get their uniforms and just put them up in the racks. We're not able to put them somewhere where they can be nice and neat. Inside the 18-wheeler, they would accommodate for uniforms, the large instruments, all the rest of the equipment that we have, because we also have props that we use out on the field. This last year we had some like tombstones. Every year it changes depending on what the props are. And again, we have to be able to move all that equipment in using U-Haul. So this is also something not necessarily just for the band program, as Dr. Rios mentioned, like for robotics or really any other programs. Sometimes they are needing a large vehicle to transport maybe their equipment. I guess we would just say, well, during marching season, it's the bands. After that, of course, being school district property and being for our students, it's something that other entities would be able to use as well. It'd be great if we would be able to have not just the trailer itself, but the cab as well. Because if we were to purchase just the trailer, then we would be looking into having to lease out the cab and a driver to take it. Within our school district, we do have some bus drivers that have you would need a CDL permit to be able to drive an 18-wheeler. So we would just be able to put in a request for a bus driver with a CDL to be able to transport the 18-wheeler to our events. So hopefully the package deal, and it's actually, we will have to purchase each separately. But again, that $270,000 cost is an estimate of what it would be to be able to acquire the trailer and the cab. So that's basically, yes. And
Mr. Smith?
So the breakdown of that is what the tractor is worth, what kind of value, and the trailer is worth what kind of value?
I'm sorry, the band right now is?
The tractor is worth how much of the 275, and the trailer is worth how much of the 270? Break it down.
They're both close to the same amount. I think it's $130,000 for the cab, the tractor itself. That's one of the quotes that we received, and then the rest is again it would have they take an Atlas moving van basically, and then they would repaint it. They could have our logo as it's shown there. They'll do all the decking on the inside, and it's a package deal. There's one that's slightly more expensive, but it's like because it has everything is electric, and you have like ramps that go up. And I said, well, it'd be nice, but it's too expensive. We just need regular decking, the ramps, lighting inside, so that we can see, particularly late at night, and just be able to unload equipment quickly, as opposed. We have we do use the U-Haul. So we have a band trailer that McDonald's donated to us about 7 years ago, and we use that for some of our front ensemble equipment, which are marimbas, part of our percussion, marimba, xylophone, timpani, and things like that. We would still use that trailer for smaller trips, but in this one we would be able to fit pretty much everything, all that equipment, and just put it into one big vehicle, as opposed to a band trailer, 2 U-Hauls, and sometimes if it's a charter bus, well, we're able to use the bottom of the charter bus for equipment as well. But yes.
Anyone else? I just know that for the last couple of graduations, you mentioned that to us every time we have a graduation, trying to keep up with the Joneses. But I think it's time for us to do something other than, rent a U-Haul to represent our district well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'm gonna ask, Coach McCray to talk about a couple of issues related to athletics. The first one is the turf, and then the scoreboard, and I might add some comments, but I'll ask Coach McCray to go first.
Good evening, Dr. Rios, President Mesa, and the school board members. It's an exciting night that we stand before you today to show some new projects that we are looking into and hoping to add to what we already have. The first one we're looking at is our replacement of the turf. It was first installed in the football season 2011-2012, so that puts it right around 11 years, which is actually a year over what the lifespan of most fields are used. We've done a great job of keeping it up, but we're at the point now where we need to improve that part of our field. What's exciting about it is the technology for turf fields has changed and for the better. Like one of the first ones that we are looking into is the Vertex Prime Fibers. What we have now is what is called a basic matrix pattern with an infill, and that's just a basic, synthetic blades, rubber infield. What we're looking to do is to go and upgrade into a combined fiber, which is one, more durable, but the exciting part of it is it's not just built for one sport. It's not just built for football, but it also combines an intertwined blend, which would allow soccer to have some improvements as well. It plays fast for soccer, and it plays how we want it to play for football, which doesn't look like much from in the stands, but when you're actually on the field or you're playing on it, it makes a lot of difference. Another upgrade is what we call the cool play. If you've ever stepped onto a turf field, and I know you have on most graduation nights, if you've noticed, if it's 90 degrees or 100 degrees temperature-wise, the field is about 25 to 30 degrees hotter, hot enough to sometimes melt the sole of your shoes. And our kids are excited and been playing on this, and we're excited that we had it in the first place. But this cool play, what it does, it's a cork synthetic infill, and what it does, it takes the temperature of the field down about 35 degrees. So it actually cools the field off, and we don't have to add any water or anything extra. It just does it naturally with the new technology and infill process. It also adds more shock absorbent to that field, which again helps us with knees, concussions, and anything like that. So it creates a safer field and a much cooler field. If you look at the design, the design is real exciting. Well, first, if you look at the track is gorgeous. It's beautiful, and we put that in last summer, and it finished into the fall. But now it's time to add the field part of it, which is going to really dress up our field. We've had so many compliments about the track, and I think that the way we have designed this field with the end zones and with the alternating patterns of green and the bordered outlined numbers, I think it's really going to turn some heads. I think people are really going to be, for lack of a better term, envious of what we're doing here in the district. The next one is another exciting adventure for me is our scoreboard. Now, I know a couple years back we ventured out to try to get this done, and we are here again. And I'm so excited because I look at the improvements to what we're doing in our state and in our district, and I think this would be a great addition to what we already have. This scoreboard includes a live video feed. It comes with high definition cameras so that we can film, that we can show replays. It has a command center that comes with it where we can create an actual production to where we can show live feed and then venture back into replays. Also, which I think is extremely important and exciting, is that it comes with a 4-year curriculum. that adds to our media tech department, in which, beginning as a freshman, they can begin to learn how to produce sporting events and how they can switch back and forth. They actually have a director and everything like that. So it's really exciting. I think it's going to be a great move in the right direction for our kids, not just aesthetically, but also educationally. The price tag for our part, if you look at the bottom, it says $500,000. Okay, and I know it seems like a lot, but I've been out into the community the last couple of weeks, and I talked to many businesses and organizations, and I'm excited to say that already I've had about $220,000 committed to this project. And if you look at the emblems on the top, at the very top we have what we call the anchor sponsors. The two that are highlighted, and you can see very clearly, have already given me a verbal commitment. The other three, which I am touching base with again, are very excited about the project, and I'm pretty sure that they are going to be all in as well. They're just meeting with their partners and stuff like that. On the very bottom, on the left side, right underneath the home score side, is Buffalo Rings and Rings, and who have already committed. I'm getting tongue-tied. Already committed to being what we call a premier sponsor. Now, with these sponsorships, they get commercial time. They're going to get to be able to remain on our board, just showing how they support our district and what we've been doing in improvements. But along with those, I've already spoken to other businesses such as BFCU, Ashley Furniture, Stat Clinic, HEB, and Walmart, who again are also excited. I think personally, and I met with Dr. Rios about this, I really believe that when it's all said and done, by the time we really want to bring this project here, I really believe that I will have about $650,000 to $700,000 already committed to this project, which would only, I would only ask of you to, I think, to put in about another $50,000 or so just extra to make sure that we can get it up in the time that we need it to get it up. So I'm really excited, not only for this, but I'm excited that the community is getting behind me on this and getting behind our district on this. So with your blessings and everything like that, we're hoping that you guys will agree to this and we can move forward. Dr. Rios?
If I may, Mr. Messer, the total cost for the scoreboard is a lot. But as Mr. McCray said, when it's all said and done, if the community does what they're talking about doing, the bill to the district is going to be no more than $100,000. Now, right now, we're going to have to spend more than $100,000 because, as y'all notice, the current board that we have is on its last leg, and the sound system is also on its last leg. So if we don't purchase this scoreboard, we still have to purchase a smaller scoreboard and replace the sound system, which combined, a new sound system and scoreboard, is going to be well over $100,000. Now, if we go this route and Coach McCray continues his efforts of having community buy-in, then the cost to the district is going to be less with this scoreboard than going and replacing the current scoreboard and the sound system. So I know that the price, but still we have to put that price tag on the bottom because we only have a little bit over 200,000 committed. But we really believe that at the end of the day, we will not ask the board to spend any more than $100,000, which we're going to ask you to spend anyway. And again, tonight is not an approval to spend that money. It's just to say we're going to reserve those funds. Okay. Can you go back one slide, Mr. Coach McCray? I want to make another comment about the turf. When we talked about the turf a little while ago, I want to just remind the board that a couple of years ago, we mentioned that the recommended use of a turf is 9 years. And when we brought the project to the board at the 9-year mark, it just things weren't right at the time. There was other things that we were engaged in. We didn't know about, we didn't know for sure where the income was going to be at and the expenses. So we said we'd wait a year. Well, then the next year, things still didn't improve. So now we're 1 year beyond the lifetime and 2 years beyond the recommended. So this isn't something that we're doing just because we have fund balance available. It's just something that we've been putting off for 2 years. So can we go to the last slide so we can ask any questions, Sandra? Answer any questions that the board may have. I just want to close, Mr. Mesa, with a reminder that, again, we're asking the board to set these funds aside. We're not asking them to approve any particular expenditure. We would do our due diligence with individual projects and bring that to you individually.
Mr. McCray, you might want to stay up.
We'll bring these projects to you individually, but legally, we do have to set money aside from fund balance if we intend to use it in the future. And that's what we're doing tonight. And that's just a recap of the costs that we went through. So any questions? Any board
Mr.
members?
Smith?
I got a few questions. The first question is probably to Mr. Rios. You know, the $12 million, what, you know, we've got this attendance issue going on right now, and I'm not trying to beat the subject up. I'm just wanting to understand how much of an impact are we estimating that's going to have on fund balance, if any, because that's a pretty big price tag of attendance on a daily basis.
Yeah, Mr. Smith, if the absences were due to just routine absences and they were less than 10% of what it was on that day the previous year, then it would have an impact, a direct impact. But because the student absences are right around 20%, the state allows for waivers, so they will not penalize our funding because of the low attendance. So,
Okay.
without the waivers, it would cost about $50,000 a day. With the waivers, it's not going to cost us anything.
Okay. And the opportunity of the waiver is 100% or 50%?
Obviously, the waivers, you have to request them.
Yeah.
And the state has to grant them. Now, right now, because this is happening across the state, the Commission of Education directed that they shut down the waiver system, because as a state, they're going to do something for everybody, because they, rather than approve, let's say that this pandemic goes on for a total of 30 days. Rather than approve 30 days for 2,000 districts individually, they're just going to create a general rule that applies to everybody to, in their words, to make us whole.
Very good. So potential headwinds, but not.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So a couple things. When I go back in my memory, which is not all that great, but when we put that field in at the middle school, my memory tells me that was about $350, and that's starting with turf. I mean with dirt. And so seeing the $430 when we've got the initial provisions there just kind of seems absorbent based on the fact that we've got something to start with. We've got a turf field to start with, or am I missing something?
No, sir, you're correct, Mr. Smith. If you recall, when Coach McCray started, he started talking about the upgrades, which is a cooling system on there, and the other system that provides more of a cushion to prevent concussions and twisted ankles. So there's at least 3 upgrades in there. When we built the field at the middle school, we specifically sold it as not the top of the line, not something that we would normally use for varsity competition, but something that was more built for middle school competition, and from time to time some type of tournament play should that happen. So yes, this is a higher quality turf.
All right, and then
But it's in keeping with what I want to say the varsity standard that is across the state.
that's fine. I'm just trying to understand what kind of credit we would get because we got a base to start with. And that's so the materials for it are offsetting that cost. Is that what you're saying?
If we were starting from scratch, just to build the field, going from regular natural grass to what we have now, it'd be right around $750,000. If we were going to dig everything up and start and up. Is that pretty accurate, Mr. McCray?
Yes, sir. Also, under our varsity field, which we did not include at the junior high field, is a base layer of padding that has to be inspected by a specific company. I can't remember the name at this time, but they installed that pad, which we did not install at the junior high, and they have to come in and inspect it. So that's one of the costs that's also included into that.
Okay. The other thing going on, talking about the school board, remind me, because I don't remember, why did we not follow through with that last time?
But 3 years ago, we didn't follow through because when we started talking about it, we'd said that we would have 100% funding from the community, and we fell short of one or two sponsors at the time, and then just we had other projects to move on, and trying to go after sponsors was too much of a distraction to other stuff we were working on. So we said we're going to lay it on hold till a later time. But we were short sponsors.
And then the last question tied to sports, right? And facilities. Have we ever considered using some of that acreage around there to build a baseball field versus using the partnership with the city, a playing field?
Yes, Mr. Smith. The current baseball field where it sits, at some point we talked, and we talked about knocking down the building that's behind, I guess, the home plate, and using that to create bleachers, and then upgrading the field itself. The reason we were talking about it was because it's in closer proximity to the dressing room. It is a larger field than what we have at the Bank and Trust field, and it's still a possibility to consider that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. One is it's just competing with the rest of the world, but at the end of the day, I don't know how much of it's because COVID seating, but as you remember last year, it was just the tailgate season, where you got all the spectators in the back of their pickups watching the games, so there's really that. The field length is limited, X, Y, Z. So anyway, it's just something maybe think about 3 to 5 year. And other than that, I think I'm pretty square. So thank you, Mr.
Thanks.
Anyone else with a question? Yes, Mr. Orfeld.
Coach. On the field design, is the soccer lines going to be on
Yeah.
there? Because it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was have all the dimensions for both sports.
Okay,
But
so
what I was talking about, the blading that we want to use this time is for both sports.
right. No, but I mean
The markings.
the actual markings.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 'Cause
Yes, sir.
I guess it wasn't represented on the
Yes, sir.
picture.
Markings
Okay,
will be
cool.
on.
Alrighty, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say thank you again for going up to the different businesses and already doing preliminary work on securing the funds.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you.
thank you again. Dr. Ruiz, I want to remind, again, administration that we still have some buildings, for example, the old Cardwell building that it has some offices, some classrooms, library, computer lab that can be utilized. And so we got rid of a couple of campuses, which were Travis or the old Cardwell and then Sam Houston, but we still have the old Garfield, and we still have the Cardwell, the last Cardwell that we had there. And I hope that we have enough, it's prime property. Again, sometimes, when I think of North Heights and all the congestion that we have there with freshmen in high school, it's quite a bit. But that is excellent property for our next elementary school, because we're still growing and there's still houses going up left and right, whether it's in the Agarita area, right by the water towers, or Lake Ridge, or lake development, which is happening as well. So we don't want to forget about that property that we have there.
Yes, Mr. Russell.
Thank you. Okay, next item we have is the consent agenda, item 9. Again, there's minutes of meetings, there's financial statements, there's purchase orders. Any item, if you have a question on any item that either someone can answer, or if you want to treat any of those separately, now's the time to look over those and indicate that to me. Also, we have some donations, and while you're doing that, looking at the minutes, making sure that all the minutes are correct and no corrections need to be made, we'll have our secretary read the donations.
Mark Baker, $300, Del High School boys basketball. Irene Cardwell Elementary received the following donations. Vanessa Luna, $25 value, 1 turkey. Del High School Class of 1984, $100 gift card. Home Depot, $112 value, Christmas tree and stand. City of Del Rio Parks and Recreation Department, $175 value, donated the use of Star Park for recruiting. San Felipe Lions Club, $552 value, 22 turkeys. Del Rio Christian Fellowship, $240 value, 8 turkeys. San Felipe Lions Club, $500 value, 24 jackets. Del Rio Christian Fellowship, $256 value, 8 turkeys and pumpkin pies. Christmas Around the World, $480 value, 22 jackets. Dr. Fermin Calderon Elementary received the following donations. Lawful Air Force Base 85th Flight Squadron, $750 value, Christmas gifts. Edna Morales, $50 value, 1 massage gift certificate. Sojo Seller, $20 value, 1 gift card. The Nail Studio, $50 value, 1 gift card. Scan Incorporated, 14 Christmas gifts. The Tipsy Yako, $68 value, 1 cactus tumbler, 1 glitter pen, and 5 pair of earrings. Del Rio Police Officers Association, $200 value, 10 jackets. A&E Kids Foundation, $556.50 value, 53 screen print t-shirts. Mary Kay, $50 value, North Heights Elementary, 4 gift baskets. HEB, $200 value, miscellaneous incentives, small trinkets, North Heights Elementary. Housekeepers Rentals, $65 value, Castle Bounce, North Heights Elementary. Mr. Gaddy's Pizza, 45 $10 game cards, Del Rio Middle School 7th and 8th grade staff Christmas party. Del Rio High School class of 1984, $100 value, 1 gift card, Buena Vista Elementary. International Food Bank, $1,075 value, 10 bicycles, San Felipe Memorial Middle School. Anonymous, $159.63 value, 4 pair of shoes, to Garfield Elementary. Veronica Robles, $6 value, 2 cases of water, to Garfield Elementary. Federal programs, Del Rio Cares, Adopt a Family, received the following donations. Hicklilla, Summerfield, $500 value, miscellaneous items. Diane Garcia, $120 value, clothes and candy. Realty Executives Realtor, $133 value, 10 clothing items. Soto Family, $250 value, miscellaneous items. Jessica Leander, Leandecker, $250 value, 4 pants, 4 shirts, sweaters, 2 toys, 1 basketball, and 1 spa set. Brian and Julie Ricks, Ashley Furniture, $220.46 value, blouse, paint, pant, shoes for a family of 5. Money Concepts, $400 value, 28 items. Sharon A. Fernandez, $50 value, gift card. Cabello Family, $160 value, clothing and personal items. Knights of Columbus, $278.50 value, clothing items and toys. Ruby Ramos, $60 value, shirt, pants, socks, Axis body spray, deodorant, and tennis shoes, and $10 gift card. Kelly Dahlgren, $350 value, Christmas gifts. Jessica Morris, $250 value, 7 shirts, pants, shoes, and 6 toys. The Gym, $280 value, 5 new pair of shoes, baby toys, clothes. The Reno Family, $300 value, clothes, and toys. Anonymous, $298.27 value, 6 shoes, 6 shirts, 7 jackets, 4 toys and books, 1 earbuds, and 1 cologne. Alveda Sheriff's Office, $2,200 value, toys, clothes, water bottles, Christmas dinner, and breakfast for 1 family. Adena Family Practice, $2,000 value, miscellaneous items. Joe Frank Martinez and family, $1,000 value, toys, clothes, Christmas tree, and basic need items. Maria T. Vial and family, $120 value, 6 shirts, 6 toys, and candy. Tiffany Nidecker, $200 value, clothing, shoes, and blanket. The Glittics Complex, $200 value, clothing, shoes, and toys. Alejandra Mendoza, $100 value, 2 pairs of shoes, 4 shirts, 1 pair of jeans, 3 earrings, and 2 headbands. Lawton Air Force Base, 86 Flying Squadron, $1,086 value, various clothes, toys, and boots. David and Carmen Martinez, $150 value, girl and boys, clothing, shoes, toys, and turkey with 6-inch basket. Lisa Sargent, $100 value, clothes, makeup, hair, straightener, hat, blanket, wallet, razor, Chick-fil-A gift card. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Again, as always, we're grateful for all the donations to assist our students and our staff in our different programs throughout the district. Especially during the Christmas holidays, noticed a lot of clothing for our children, whether it's winter clothing or shoes and things that will help out everyone. Thanks again for your donation. We appreciate everything that you do for supporting our district and our endeavors. This time I will ask board members if there's any item on the consent agenda. Again, one action will approve all items on the consent agenda. Is there any items that need to be cleared out or questions that you might have? None? Great. Then I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion made by Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously with 6 votes. Okay, great. Go on to administration, item 10A. First item we have is consideration to approve the order of election for the 2022 San Felipe Adero CISD School Board election. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board, and Happy New Year. This year, 2022, is a year for school board elections. In accordance to the Texas Election Code, it requires the Board of Trustees of the school district to approve an order of election, establishing procedures for filing and conducting school board elections. The last day to order a general election is Friday, February 18, 2022. And because that is fast approaching and the candidate filing period is opening up, we're bringing it forward tonight. The school board of elections will be held on Saturday, May 7, 2022, for the following positions. Place 1, currently held by Mr. Ken Smith. Place 3, currently held by Mrs. Linda Guanajuato Webb. Place 4, currently held by Mr. Raymond Mesa. Place 5, currently held by Mr. Fred Contreras. In accordance with the election calendar set by the Texas Secretary of State, the first day to file an application for candidacy begins tomorrow, Wednesday, January 19, 2022 at 8 a.m., and the deadline to file an application is Friday, February 18, 2022 at 5 p.m. The board secretary, who serves as the school district's filing authority for the school board elections, will confirm the completeness of these applications. As you are already aware, the applications have changed. Texas legislature has made some changes and modifications, so a candidate may file electronically, may file in person, or may fax the document. Confirmed candidates after the closure on February 18th will receive notice for the date of drawing for their place on the ballot. So any information to comply with Senate Bill 2, the district has opened a website for school board elections, and you'll see all of the forms and documents for the school board elections. They are already posted. And at this time, I can entertain any questions that you may have.
I have a question. Does that mean that Ms. Gonzalez will be here at 7:45 a.m.?
That means I will collect them. I'll have them ready for her to, yes, she can later make sure and approve them.
Okay.
Sure, I just set the alarm so
Yes.
I'm used to getting up at 10 since I'm retired, but I'll come.
Any questions from board
One
members?
thing, I have a question.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Thank you. On the school page, this election page, will you be posting the candidates as they, applicants as they come in, like every day or?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing your question.
Okay, I'm gonna file, although I'm right here. Let's pretend I'm gonna file. Are you gonna put my name the day that I file, or is it
So
gonna be updated daily, or?
the board secretary just serves as the
No, no,
filing
I know,
authority.
But I'm
Yes.
not a board secretary.
You'll
I'm
just
not-
sign.
I'm not Ms. Gonzalez, I'm somebody else.
Yes.
I'm filing for a position on the board. Will you put my name on this page when I file, or are you gonna wait a week to put it up? As people come in to file, are their names gonna be posted on this page?
Yes.
Yes, it's on a daily basis.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? All right, board members, tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning.
I'll
For
read
re-election.
the recommendation, sir.
Yes.
Yes. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the order of election for the 2022 school board elections to be held on Saturday, May 7th, 2022.
You've heard the recommendation from administration, motion for approval made by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Orfeld. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously with 6 votes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item we have is 10B, consideration to approve a joint election agreement between San Felipe Del Rio CISD, Val Verde Hospital District, and the City of Del Rio. Sandra Evans.
Yes, sir. In accordance with the Texas Election Code 41.001A and 41.002, and in accordance with Board Policy BBE legal, school districts are required to have joint elections, joint polling places. When we have a city who is holding a uniform election, hospital district, and also the county on a November uniform election day. So because this has been the requirement from the Texas Election Code, we are requesting that the 2022 school board elections be held on the uniform election day and in a joint election on May 7th, 2022 with the City of Del Rio, the Val Verde Hospital District as well. Attached in a separate document is the joint election agreement between the San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated Independent School District, the Val Verde Hospital District, and the City of Del Rio for the board's approval. And you will see on page 259, the polling places. The voting will be joint. The polling place will be at the Del Rio Civic Center. The polling places on election day will be shared, and you will see them right underneath the old Court of Law, Jose Ramos Facility, Val Verde County Fire Station, 4-H Barns, Northside Baptist Church, Fellowship Hall, Comstock Community Center, St. Joseph's Church Parish Hall, and the Val Verde Community Center.
Questions from board members? Recommendation.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the joint election agreement between the San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated Independent School District the Val Verde Hospital District, and the City of Del Rio for the 2022 school board elections to be held on Saturday, May 7th, 2022.
You've heard the recommendation from administration. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously with 6 votes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Item 10C, consideration to approve the nomination of a candidate for the position of on the Val Verde County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Dr. Rios.
Yes, Mr. Mesa, we've been, for the last 2 months, soliciting recommendations. We got one recommendation, and unless the board has any other last-minute recommendations, we'd like to make one.
Does anyone else have? Dr. Rios, do you want to make the recommendation?
Mr. Mesa, we'd like to recommend Mr. Leonel Chavez to sit on the Val Verde County Appraisal District Board to represent the school district.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation from administration. Motion made by Mr. Smith. Is there a second to the motion? Motion made, seconded by Mrs. Gonzalez. All those in favor? Motion's approved unanimously with 6 votes. Thank you very much. Go on to the next item on the agenda, item 12, technology and operations. Consideration to approve the commitment of fund balance and budget amendment to the general fund in the amount of $6 million for various upcoming district projects. Israel Carrera.
Good evening, once again, Board President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. The district has estimated an unassigned fund balance of $12,750. Administration has identified several districts' upcoming projects not currently funded in our general budget and would like to ask the board to commit these funds for the project at this time. As we talked earlier, we talked about Ceniza Hills Elementary soft costs, the conversion of North Heights Elementary to Head Start, replacement of turf at Del Rio High School, purchase of 3 buses, a semi-trailer and cab, and Del Rio High School Stadium scoreboard. Are there any questions?
Dr. Rios?
The amounts, the initial amount stated was incorrect, but how you read them on there was correct. So we're good.
Yeah, he said 12 million.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
All right.
Big difference.
Okay. I think all of us have gone through the presentation that was made here. And unless there are any other questions? Questions from board members? Okay, then I'll ask for the recommendation.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the commitment of the fund balance and budget amendment to the general fund in the amount of $6 million for the projects discussed.
Heard the recommendation. There's a motion for approval from Mr. Smith, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously with 6 votes. Thank you very much. Next item on technology, 12B, consider and take possible action authorizing the board president to sign an agreement with AEP Texas Incorporated to construct an utility easement and right-of-way on district-owned property directly in front of Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary School, Israel Carrera.
Yes, sir. We're asking the board to approve this easement that will allow electric transmission line to be extended from the southwest corner of the school property along Pontoon Road. The project includes an easement and right-of-way for electrical distribution lines, underground cables and conduits, communication circuits, metering equipment, and all necessary or desirable accessory over, under, and across upon a portion of the district-owned property.
Mr. Smith?
So I don't remember this. I mean, I remember one for the middle school or over there, but not at Lonnie Green, so I'm not square on this.
This is a new one, Mr. Smith. They're developing the property directly west of Lonnie Green, and they need about, I'm going to say less than 10 feet for an easement in our property, and it's really, they write all the legal description, but really it's that anchor, to anchor the pole to the ground. It's really no burden to the school district at all, and it will help develop that property and hopefully put it in the tax roll. So it has nothing to do with the school district, it's the development of that property directly west of Lonnie Green. And we're just letting them use some property, and I think we get $10 in return. It's really no inconvenience, but
I
it is
trust your
district
judgment, so we're good. I trust your judgment. It's not a,
Anyone else? Recommendation, please.
It is a recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the board president to sign the agreement with AEP Texas Incorporated for the construction of the utility easement and right-of-way on the district-owned property directly in front of Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary School.
Heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Amy Haynes. Is there a second to the motion? Mr. Smith? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously with 6 votes. Thank you very much. Next item we have on the agenda is Business and Finance. Consideration to approve resolution regarding review of the investment policy CDA local to include independent sources of instruction for the training of investment officers and resolution adopting investment policy and strategy authorized broker/dealer list. Sandra Edmonds.
Good evening, Mr. Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The administration is requesting the approval of the resolution for independent sources of instruction relating to the investment and the sources of the investment officers. Those include Region Service Center 15 and 20, Government Treasurers Organization of Texas, Texas Association of School Administrators, Texas Association of School Boards, Texas Association of School Business Officials, and the University of North Texas Center for Public Management. And the administration, in addition, is asking that the approval be requested for the second reading of CDA local. Annually, the Business and Administration, the CFO, brings CDA local and is being reviewed by the investment officers, and the policy and strategy has been reviewed by the investment advisor, Patterson and Associates, and made the recommendation. The first reading was presented last month in the December board meeting.
Questions from board members? No questions. Recommendation, please.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution regarding the review of the investment policy CDA local and the broker-dealer list.
For the recommendation, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Mr. Smith, is there a second to the motion? Mr. Orfeld, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. It's 6 votes.
Thank you.
Next item we have is item 13B, tax collection refunds in the amount of $229,000, $229,137 for overpayment of taxes resulting from an incorrect M&O rate on billing statements. Dr. Rios.
Mr. Mesa, as presented earlier, we're seeking the board's approval to cut a check back to the county, and then they'll start the reimbursement.
Okay.
You're approving the $229,000. Just remember that there is that 1% that needs to come back to the district.
Yes.
I got just one question, and that ties with that. You know, you went through kind of a 30,000-foot view of the accounts and what, you know, but if I'm a homeowner and I'm worried about whether I'm going to get a check or not, where do I go? Is there something that's out by the county or the tax assessor that says you can go to this website and find your name? Here's what you should expect, so that you kind of know if you get back what you owe, or is...
The tax assessor provided a list to the school district of everybody that's getting the check. Now, the packet is huge. It's a whole lot of pages because it involves a statement from each one.
I know it's a
So
big
they
list,
have a list and we have a
13,000.
list, if anybody's wondering. But anybody that paid their taxes with the intention of getting an early discount from the county
Is in the
is
list.
getting a refund. Now, the amount that they're getting, they have to get with the county for that. And we also have it if they were to email Ms. Childers, I'm sure she would reply.
TrueAutomation.com.
And you saw your refund? TrueAutomation.com. And we'll include that in the press release tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good to know. I'm trying to navigate that and I couldn't. Well, thank you very much.
It's the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the refund in the amount of $229,100.37 for overpayment of taxes resulting from an incorrect M&O rate on the billing statement as previously presented.
You've heard the recommendation. There's a motion by Mr. Oldfeld. Is there a second? Mr. Smith? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We go on to Human Resources, item 14 on the agenda. 14A, discussion and possible action to approve employee job descriptions and evaluation forms. Aide Garcia.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. In your packet, you have the job description for the custodial coordinator that we're requesting for your approval. We are including a change only or an addition. This person is going to be identified as the integrated pest management supervisor or coordinator. So that item is listed on this job description. And then there was just a couple of other changes in the experience. Those are the only changes on this job description.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions? No questions? No questions. So recommendation.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the employee job description and evaluation form as presented.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item 14B, consideration to approve submittal of application for Impact Aid. Aide Garcia.
Yes, sir. Every year we come to request approval to submit the Impact Aid application. This is to provide districts with assistance for districts that have lost property tax revenue due to the presence of tax-exempt federal properties. And this is an annual application that we submit. Any questions?
I think all of us are familiar with the Impact Aid. Pretty much. No questions. Recommendation.
It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the submittal of the grant application under the Impact Aid Section 7003 and for the superintendent to sign.
Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Mr. Smith, seconded by Diana Gonzalez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next item we have is closed session. We're going to close session pursuant to policy, to Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551.074 and 551.071. Again, the time is 7:24
Mr.
p.m.
Mesa, I'm sorry for
Yes.
interrupting. I'm going back to Business and Finance B.
Yes.
And if I'm reading this presentation right, we're 226,809.37, or am I missing? this wrong.
That's correct. Remember I mentioned the 1%?
I got it. So what I thought we were approving here is for the district to issue that back to the county. No?
We issued that back to the county, and then they settled up on the 1%.
Yeah, okay. So we're approving to issue back 229, but the piece of that's their cash. And what I think we're saying here is our piece of it's 226.
Yes, there's a $3,000 difference, and I think that's that 1% that the county charges for the.
I got that. I'm still asking the same question. What I think we're approving here is for you to write a check that includes the 3,000.
Yes, it is. It is. But then they would settle up with the county on that 1%. The total over billing, or the total overpayment was 229.
So how do we get our 3,000? I'm just splitting hairs a little bit here. How do we go with
The Childress and the tax assessor collector will figure that 3% out when it's all said and done. That was just the cleanest way that they recommended. I know it doesn't jive. There's a $3,000 difference, but Amy will do its due diligence in settling that up for them and have a little conversation. I wish I had more of the details right now, but I'll make sure it's all cleared up in the statement.
Okay.
Okay, the time is 7:26 p.m. We're going into closed session. Again, no action will be taken in closed session. If any item needs to be approved, it will be approved on reconvening into open session. We're now in closed session. Okay, the time is 9:02 p.m. We're going to reconvene into open session. No action was taken in executive session. We're down to item 18A on the agenda. Discussion and possible action on personnel report. Aide Garcia.
Good evening again. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the following personnel. Giselle Rodriguez, third grade teacher at Buena Vista Elementary. Amor Cardenas, second grade bilingual teacher at Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary. Rachel Heller, second grade teacher at Garfield Elementary. And Emmanuel Odin, social studies teacher at Student Guidance and Learning Center.
For the recommendation from administration, is there a motion for approval? Mr. Smith made the motion, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item 18B, consideration to approve the position of counselor for Buena Vista Elementary, Aide Garcia.
It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Annabelle Hernandez, counselor for Buena Vista Elementary.
Heard the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Smith, seconded by Ms. Orfeld. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 18C, consideration to approve the position of counselor for Buena Vista Elementary, Aide Garcia.
It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Marisol Chavez for the position of counselor at Buena Vista Elementary.
Heard the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Mr. Smith, is there a second? Mr. Orfeld, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item D, consideration to approve the position of educational diagnostician for special education department, Aide Garcia.
It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Yuridia Flores for the position of educational diagnostician for the special education department.
Heard the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Next item we have is item E, consideration to approve a resolution regarding extension of leave for employee quarantine due to COVID-19. Aide Garcia.
I'll speak to this. Yeah, she'll read the recommendation, but I'll speak to this. Last year, the board approved a resolution that would authorize 10 additional days for individuals who had exhausted their personal leave due to COVID. And if they tested positive for COVID, then they could use 10 additional days, but only after they had used their own personal leave. At the time, that worked because we were at the end of the previous wave of the pandemic. But here recently, we've had a large number of employees that have contracted it, and the concern is that they're using their leave, but then should they have another personal emergency or family one, they wouldn't have any days available. And so we worked with the attorneys to revise it, and we're recommending the same resolution, except that now the days are COVID days, and they don't have to exhaust their own personal leave. However, they do have to provide a test, either administered, an antigen test administered by school personnel or from a clinic. And the days are immediate, and it's up to 10 days. I know that a lot of teachers are being released after 5 days, and if that's what they're released at, then that's what they use. But a lot of them have to stay the 10 days because they continue to show symptoms. So again, it's only until it's only if they have a test, and only until they're released by the local health authority, no more than 10 days. So we're making that recommendation. It is going to be retroactive to the initial resolution that we had. So anybody that had previously used their own days, we will restore them. Obviously, it's a one-time use during the period through the rest of the school year. I don't know if there's any specific questions.
Any questions from board members? No questions. Recommendation, please.
Yes, sir. It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution regarding extension of leave for employees quarantined due to COVID-19.
That's the recommendation. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Amy Hayes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item F, consideration and possible action pursuant to Chapter 2254 of the Texas Government Code regarding retention of Pearson Legal, PC, and Schulman, Lopez, Hoffer, and Edelstein, LLP, as contingent fee counsel to handle litigation and any other dispute resolution processes and procedures regarding property claims against the district's insurers and all related parties arising out of damages caused by hail/windstorms on or around April 11, 2020 and April 28, 2021. Dr. Carlos.
Yes, sir. Related to the wind and hailstorms that occurred between April 11th and April 28th, we filed the claim with TASB, and TASB gave the district some compensation for those damages. However, we believe that TASB did not act in the best interest of the school and did not refund, but not award as much money as was necessary in accordance with the policy that we had with them. We would like to retain Pearson Legal and Schulman, Lopez, and Hoffer to work on a contingency fee. That means that we don't pay them unless they recoup some money for the district. The board had taken this prior action, but because this has to have the approval of the Attorney General, there is specific language that they want on the recommendation and the approval, and that's why we're bringing this item back for your action.
Any questions from board members? No? Okay. Recommendation?
Mr. Mesa?
Yes.
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the retention of Pearson Legal PC and Schulman, Lopez, Hoffer, and Adelstein LLP as contingent fee counsel to handle the litigation and any other dispute resolution processes and procedures concerning property claims against the district's insurers, and all related parties arising out of damages caused by hail and wind storms on or around April 11th of 2020 and April 28th of 2021.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second to the motion? Okay. Ms. Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item G, consideration and possible action to authorize Superintendent Carlos Rios to review, approve, and sign the board meeting minutes regarding the January 18, 2022 meeting, once such minutes are typed in final form, including at any time before any meeting of the board in February 2022. Dr. Rios?
Yes, Mr. Mesa, in order for this action that the board just approved in item F, 18F, to move forward, the Attorney General needs to see the meeting minutes of today's meeting where you all approved item 18F. And there's a wait time, approximately 90 days. So if we wait to approve the minutes until the February meeting, then we add a whole 30 days to the process. Therefore, the attorneys advised that the board authorize the superintendent to sign the minutes as soon as they are typed up and in final form. So that's the purpose of this item, just for y'all to allow me to sign the minutes and approve them so that we can move forward with the litigation process.
Okay. Questions? None?
Mr. Mesa?
Yes.
I move that the Board of Trustees authorize Superintendent Carlos Rios to review, approve, and sign the board meeting minutes regarding the January 18th, 2022 meeting, once such minutes are typed and in final form, including at any time before any meeting of the board in February of 2022.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? Amy Haynes, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. There being no other items on the agenda, is there a motion for, again, adjournment? Motion made by Ms. Rotfeld, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion is approved unanimously with 6 votes. Thank you, everyone, and good night.